All right, Tim's stat deep dive. We're going to start off with Brian To'o from the Penrith Panthers. Talk to me, Timbo.
Well, my heart nearly skipped a beat when I saw him on the right edge for the Panthers last week because we've said it all year, left edge Penrith, not really where you want to be. It opened up a little bit there, and like To'o in particular had a few good scores while Cleary was out, and they had a few good wins, and Luai just got the ball out to him. But really, you want to be on the right edge at Penrith, and particularly with Nathan Cleary back in the form that he's in. It has changed a little bit because Nathan Cleary is starting to play down the left a little bit more and sweeping off Luai, so it opens up that left wing a little bit more, but I stand by you want to be on the right, and a few stats to back that up. Penrith, they've scored 41% of their tries down the right edge this season compared to 33% on the left. That's also not taking into account that there was those big stretch of games with Cleary out. Luai took over, became the dominant half on the left. And then last season, similar sort of thing, 42% of tries down their right compared to 34% down their left. Again, Cleary missed a few games, not taking that into account. Not like dramatic numbers, but the talking point is just To'o on the left. First question, does it stay that way? My suspicion is that it was a defensive move because Tungo and Taruf were getting cut to pieces. So they've gone and put one of the best defensive wingers in the comp in To'o there next to Tungo. It could have been a move, just a body size thing up against Marju last week. Do you think it stays that way?
I have no idea, and I wish I could be more help to those that are listening, but mate, it just seems like a lottery to me every time. I never know what they're going to do, and every time I think I do and I come up with reasoning like you just did there, they change it 2 weeks later. I have no idea. I think Brian To'o, I don't think he's a bad play, whatever wing he's on, realistically. But, I mean, I could sit here and give you all the reasons why he'll stay on this wing or move to that wing. I just have no idea. I don't think any of us do.
Yeah, he really interests me for the run home, regardless of wing, but I much prefer him on the right. Look, I'm not going to go this week on him. First, I want to see what edge he does play on again. In saying, if we can get some images from Captain Tron or something, we can hopefully find it out. Melbourne next week is very difficult. There'll be rest coming at some point in the back end of the season.
Yeah.
That's a concern.
Yeah, it sounds like the Penrith Panthers, after this Melbourne Storm game, which is going to be a big one, they'll stagger their rests, like they've done in previous years. So it is just going to be a bit of a lottery.
I would love for To'o to be rested after the Melbourne game, get it done early with. So with security for those last few weeks, could bring him in for that. I'd be all around.
Yeah, have a look at their games after the Melbourne Storm game. I think they play the Canberra Raiders in the nation's capital. Then I think they've got 2 home games. I want to say Souths and Titans, both of them at home over at Penrith. So surely if they're going to rest, the Raiders game's probably the one. Fucking save a trip down there in the cold, surely.
Yeah. Well, as you said, it's going to be staggered, so who knows?
It is going to be a good point, though. If Brian To'o rests that game, we'll be having serious conversations.
A massive play.
Huge play, yeah. Let's talk about, speaking of the nation's capital and avoiding it like the plague, what about their front row forward? He is flying, Joe Tapine. Is he back or what?
Somewhat. He's back because of the injury to Payne Haas, and everyone needs a replacement, except you. 98 points on the weekend, 31 tackles, 7 tackle breaks, a line break, 16 runs. He was awesome in Big Papa's 300th. Very notably, though, 4 offloads.
Yeah.
Looked like they'd maybe been given a bit of a license to do it, whether or not that was opposition-based or a one-week thing, I don't know. But a very, very good sign there. 652K, right up there among the top contenders to replace Payne Haas. One thing I did want to note, though, there's a bit of belief that, and it's been largely true in recent years, that starts the season in slower minutes and builds them up towards the back end of the year. We've said it time and time again. We have seen it in the past. This year, not so much. In his last 5 games this year, he's averaged 55 minutes per game, which is perfectly aligned with his average minutes for the season. Not to say that he won't play a few extra minutes on the run home. However, don't necessarily expect higher scores to come in the back end of the year. I think unless it is a thing where the offload he's been given a license, say, mate, we need second phase play, get the ball moving, and he does that, I think we'll definitely see an uptick. You could be paying the exact value for Joe Tapine for the run home. Good trade in. Don't expect 90-plus scores each week.
Geez, his last month has been good, hasn't it? 68, 60, 71, 98, all with No tries, no try assist during that period. I don't mind the play. If I was a Payne Haas owner, he is probably who I'd be going to. I just wonder, mate, if watching the Raiders on the weekend and they all of a sudden, I think they had like 10 plus offloads or something. Like we've seen weeks where they've had one or two. It's been crazy. I reckon Joe Tapine could be a really good trade in, but there is a gamble, 100%.
I think he, like, and look at his base, the last 5 games, 58, 61, 54, 62, 57, outstanding. I think he's probably the best replacement for Payne Haas. I look at
Points-wise, yes. Yeah.
Points-wise, yes. We had a deep dive into it last night, into like all the options to replace him on the Playbook podcast. Like, I'm keen to get your thoughts because Mitch Barnett, tremendous form, points-wise probably the number one option, but over 800K, around 27 bye. I can't go near it. Fanua Blake, does he get less minutes on the run home if the Warriors are done? I think Taps of the premium options is the pick.
I'll tell you what, when I look at this Raiders side this week, the bench, Adam Cook, Trey Mooney, Atamariota, Simi Sasangi, and that's before Morgan Smithies is potentially ruled out. Mate, I reckon he plays enormous minutes this week.
Yeah.
And if they win this week against Manly, which I reckon they're a good shot to at home, I can't believe how many people are riding them off after a loss at home. Their season's alive. They're a chance to make the finals still. Honestly, the more I talk about it, the more I actually like the trade.
Yeah, I think it's a solid play.
Yeah. Okay, let's move to our next player on Tim's deep dive. We've got Jaden Sewer from the St George Illawarra Dragons. Obviously, a bit of carnage in the 2RF this week. What do you got on Sewer?
Chipped away to a very solid Supercoach season, Jaden Sewer. And Dragons players have just been so hard to come by because of the inconsistency in their results. One week they're up, the next week they're down. Sewer obviously Origin impacted as well. But mate, he's averaging 66 this season and scored 93 against the Storm, one of the games of his career down there. 2 tries, a try assist. He was brilliant. He has a 3-round average of 85, a 5-round average of 79. He's off the back of Origin. He's come out absolutely firing. His base is very poor, 41 per game. 4 tries in his last 3 games. Not one that I'm going to be going near, but as I said, people do need back rollers. The Dragons run home's pretty good. He has a lot of attack in him. They're playing good footy, playing for finals. Probably more one to monitor for next year because if the Dragons continue to develop on what they've built this year, which there's no reason why they shouldn't, he's been really good.
I just 4 tries in the last 3 weeks. His 3-round average is 85. For a back rower that I'm also going to have to spend 670K on. Yeah, not for me. But if you are looking for a pod play, I mean, outside of the Bulldogs game this week, Titans, Sharks, Para, Canberra again at the end. It's not bad. Not for me, but an interesting talking point there, Jaden Sewer. Okay, our last one. Oh boy.
Oh, yeah.
Big talking point this week. Shout out to Anthony Seibold, who when he arrived at the Manly Seagulls decided, you know what, I'm going to buy Taniela Paseka a mirror to put in his house so he can realise how big he is. And it has worked just quietly. I think his last year or so has been tremendous. He's come back from injuries, looked good. You got him a good value here. And a little friend of mine is a little bit keen on Paseka. Take us away, big dog.
Yeah, Anthony Seibold, big Taniela Paseka guy.
Huge Taniela Paseka guy.
Mate, people looking for front row forward replacements for Payne Haas. Now, we've touched on a few of the bigger names there and the premium options who certainly have bigger scoring upside than Taniela Paseka. I get that. However, we're also at the stage of the year where, look, let's say most teams, certainly after this week, will be running 3 front row forward guns. Squads should be pretty deep. On an ideal week, you don't really want to be playing your 3rd front row forward each week unless you're forced into it. So I look at my circumstances where I've got Curran and Fainu, and I'm like, you know what, they're both chipping on fine. I'm happy to play them for the weeks running home. The Tigers do have a bye to come. I'd need to cover it 1 week. But Taniela Paseka had a 6-point injury game against the Dragons a while back, had a stretch off of games, and then he played 30 minutes on return from injury. Bottoms out at 302K. He's averaged 47 minutes per game this season for a 44-point average. That upticks to 47 points per game when you take off those 2 games I just mentioned. Last year, he averaged 54 points in 48 minutes. He's currently priced on a 30-point average. He's a front rower that can bust tackles, got an offload on him, all those good sort of things. He'll be a vital cog for Manly on the run home who have a soft draw. At 302K, mate, the way what I've planned out is I want to be able to get Angus Crichton and Joey Manu next week, and I want to do it for blokes in my team that I don't really want to play at the moment. I'm looking at like Pierce Paul and Watene-Zelezniak out, or Lane and Watene-Zelezniak out. My second trade this week was always going to be a cash generation trade. So I look at Payne Haas and I go, all right, I can go him down to Paseka, make myself 325K, use that for to fund my trades next week. Don't really have to, don't intend on playing him on the run home very often. There might be a week here or a week there. I think it's a play.
Yeah, I don't like the buy of Paseka for him solely, but it's what else it allows you to do with that
Absolutely.
money that makes sense. So, yeah, I could throw stats at you about Paseka about, he's had, just 30 tackle breaks this year, 4 offloads, but he's 302K. You're freeing up, 350 odd K from Payne Haas there, which allows you to get Joey Manu, these sort of guys. I think the other thing with Paseka, mate, which I think will become more important as the season goes on, Manly Seagulls are not going to be in a position to rest guys. He's just come off a big spell. He'll at least play every single week. Even if he's only getting your 40s or 50s, there's going to be weeks at the back end of this season where I think people are going to have 16 players every week. He'll do a job. So, the actual buy of Paseka I don't love, but I think he is the best option out of those guys to free up cash and allow you to make other moves. So I get it.
And look, last game out, he scored 51 points in 51 minutes. That was his second game back from a relatively lengthy injury layoff. He had 5 tackle busts in that game as well. So, yeah, I really don't mind it. And, if there's a week or two that I have to play him and he comes out and knocks out 45, I'm like, cool, front row forward, whatever. Yep. And I cannot emphasise this enough. There was a comment on the Playbook YouTube last night saying, what in the world are you doing? Like, Paseka, he's not going to get your points this time. You're like, I couldn't have spelled it any more clearly. This trade allows me to go 2 bludgers to Manu and Angus Crichton next week. Do I think he's going to score more than Joe Tapine or Adam Fanua-Blake on the run home? No. But I'm fine with that.
Yep. No, I completely agree. And mate, I reckon there's every chance as we get on this run home that a lot of people will end up having to play Terrell May here, who's going to go 30 or 60, and if you're getting 45 from Paseka every week, you'll take it. I don't, and like I understand people will look at this trade of Tim and go, he's not a good guy to trade in, but you're not going to win and lose shit in the front row.
No.
Doesn't fucking matter. It's all about freeing up cash for those other big gets.
All going to plan, and it's Supercoach, things will change, I get it. Curran and Fino play every game on their own home. The Tigers have a bye. I play Paseka once this year. That is ideal. And I'm very aware. Curran's in doubt this week. I may have to play Paseka this week, but that's the way I'm viewing it.
Yeah. And I mean, Curran scored 45 on the weekend. Wasn't the end of the world.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, I get it, mate. I don't love trading him in, but I get it 100% what it allows you to do